The galaxy held its breath as the Drachner horde, a race of sentient machines, began their relentless conquest. Entire civilizations were consumed in their cold, methodical advance. Planets were stripped of resources, their inhabitants reduced to fuel for the horde's ever-expanding fleet. For centuries, they had gone unchallenged, their calculated precision overwhelming every resistance, until they met humanity. The Drachner's arrival in the Sol system was expected. Humanity's astronomers had tracked their approach for decades, watching helplessly as one system after another fell. By the time they reached Earth, there was no one left to warn them. The galaxy had gone silent, every beacon extinguished, every ally annihilated. And yet, humanity stood ready. General Iona Holt stared at the holographic display in Earth's orbital command center. The Drachner fleet was vast, a sea of gleaming black ships blotting out the stars. The United Earth Defense Force was vastly outnumbered, their ships dwarfed by the enemy's monolithic dreadnoughts. But humanity had one advantage the Drachner could not calculate: desperation. All units. This is General Holt, she said, her voice steady but filled with unyielding determination. The Drachner believe we are a resource to be harvested, a problem to be solved. But they do not understand what it means to fight for something greater than yourself. Today, we prove them wrong. For every life lost, for every world burned, we will make them pay. Fight like hell. The comms erupted with affirmations as the fleet engaged. Humanity's ships moved in chaotic patterns, their erratic maneuvers confounding the Drachner's predictive algorithms. Every vessel, from cutting-edge warships to retrofitted cargo haulers, joined the fray. Even the civilian sector contributed, with orbital platforms and asteroid mining drones turned into weapons of war. The Drachner's initial assault was devastating. Their weapons tore through human defenses with merciless efficiency, their drones swarming like locusts. But humanity fought back with a ferocity that defied logic. Kamikaze pilots rammed into enemy ships, and stealth fighters exploited every blind spot. For every human life lost, the Drachner paid in blood or whatever passed for it. Humanity's survival hinged on a desperate gamble. Deep beneath the surface of Mars, hidden within ancient lava tubes, lay Project Phoenix. Led by Dr. Elias Quinn, a team of scientists and engineers had been working in secrecy for decades to develop a weapon capable of turning the tide. It's not just a weapon, Dr. Quinn explained to General Holt during a secure transmission. His voice was tinged with exhaustion, but resolute. It's a revolution. A nanite swarm designed to disrupt the Drachner's core programming and override it with chaos. Can it work? Holt asked, leaning closer to the hologram. She needed assurance, a flicker of hope amidst the darkness. Quinn hesitated. The silence hung heavy before he replied. It has to. The plan was simple in theory. Deliver the nanites to the Drachner's central command ship, the Nexus. In practice, it was a suicide mission. The Nexus was heavily guarded, surrounded by countless drones and warships. But humanity had never shied away from impossible odds. Captain Marcus Thorne volunteered to lead the mission. A veteran of countless battles, Thorne was known for his unorthodox tactics and unshakable resolve. His ship, the Harbinger, was a battered frigate barely held together by duct tape and hope. But it carried humanity's last best chance. The Harbinger slipped past the Drachner's outer defenses, its stealth systems pushed to their limits. Inside the ship, the atmosphere was tense. Engineers monitored the nanite payload, their hands trembling as they worked. Soldiers checked their weapons, knowing they might not live to use them. And Thorne delivered a final address to his crew, his voice steady despite the odds they faced. "We're not just fighting for Earth," he said, his gaze sweeping across the room. "We're fighting for everyone who's ever dared to dream of a better tomorrow. They think they can snuff us out like a candle in the dark. Let's show them how brightly humanity can burn." The Harbinger emerged from stealth within striking distance of the Nexus. The Drachner reacted instantly, their ships converging in a swarm. Thorne's crew fought with desperate precision, their every action buying precious seconds. The Harbinger shook violently as enemy fire tore into its hull, but they held their course. Finally, the nanite payload was launched. The swarm impacted the Nexus, burrowing into its hull and spreading like wildfire. For a moment, nothing happened. The crew held their breath, watching the display with wide eyes. Then the Drachner fleet convulsed. Ships collided. Drones turned on each other, and the Nexus itself began to break apart. The nanites had done their job, introducing chaos into a system that thrived on order. The Drachner were undone by the very trait they had sought to extinguish in others. The cost of victory was staggering. The Harbinger was destroyed, its crew sacrificing themselves to ensure the mission's success. Captain Thorne's fate remained unknown, his last transmission cut off mid-sentence. Earth's fleet was a shattered remnant, and countless lives had been lost. But humanity had survived. In the aftermath, the galaxy began to stir. Species that had hidden in fear emerged from the shadows, inspired by humanity's defiance. Alliances were forged, and the ruins of the Drachner's conquest became the foundation of a new coalition. General Holt stood on the bridge of the Resolute, watching as Earth began to rebuild. The scars of war were everywhere, but so was the resilience that had carried them through. She thought of the lives lost, the sacrifices made, and the indomitable spirit of her people. Her voice was soft but unwavering as she spoke to the crew. "We were ashes," she murmured, "but from the ashes we rise." Humanity's story had become legend, a testament to the power of resilience and unity. The Drachner had sought to extinguish them, but in doing so, they had ignited a fire that would never be quenched. For humanity, the stars were no longer the limit. They were the next frontier.
This victory was only the beginning. The fight for Althara Prime was far from over, and the stakes were higher than ever. As more gunships loomed on the horizon and Dominion forces regrouped, Ira felt the weight of their mission pressing down on her. But she also felt something else, a spark of hope, burning brighter than the flames around them. "What's next?" Cale asked, his voice steady despite the chaos. Ira tightened her grip on her rifle. "We keep fighting. For the Resistance. For Althara Prime. For the galaxy."